have their windows open and push it to their house.
Like if your neighbor at a house, like say your neighbor at a house right there, you might not burn it on a northwest wind. Yeah. You may wait for a northeast or
try to push it away from it a little bit.
Get it away from the house. But I mean, for the most part, like Wade said, you got to go when the conditions are
high.
And
that classic fireworks factory deal, you want to wait until the wind was the opposite direction.
You want to back burn that one.
Yeah, the whole thing.
If you want to be on the news, wait till it's going towards
you can make one hell of a headline.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild podcast. This is part 2 of our special 4-part series, Cultivating Value. And we've got a packed house today.
Powered by
Drury.
Powered by Buckley and Funding. We can't leave the title partner out of this.
Those guys were so much fun last week.
And she was super sharp. Like, she knows her stuff. So if you haven't, go back an episode and check out the stuff we did with the Buckley and Funding crew, Megan and Jamie.
Yeah, those guys were great. So Forrest and Wade are here.
Yeah, we have Forrest Bonin, Wade Robinson from Mark and Terry's Farm, the farm Wade manager. Robinson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still is.
Yeah, these are the guys. These are the guys that are putting in all the work and really, whether it's in the field, whether it's behind the camera, in front of the camera, they're as integral as a part of our company as anybody at this point. And Wade, you've been here how long now?
14 years.
14 years, and Forrest, how 8, 7?
My 9th year.
9. So you guys are well versed in management and how Mark and Terry love to set up their farms. And I'm sure in the first year or two, it was you just listen and do what they're wanting you to do. But at this point, you guys are a key part of setting all these farms up as well. It's a joint venture between you and the guys to decide, okay, I think we should try this or try that. And maybe sometimes you're the ones that are bringing the ideas to the table based on, all the years of knowledge and history that you have. So what we want to dive into today in this series, one of the things that we talked about last week with the Buckley and Funding people were, okay, it's one thing to purchase a farm or want to purchase a farm, identify a farm you want to purchase. It's another thing to then go in and create.
What?
Yeah. Now what? Exactly. Create some value on that property, not only for the habitat and creating a place that you grow big deer or hold deer and have turkeys thriving and poults and all that stuff. And it's a whole nother thing to then add value if you ever want to sell it. And that's a key part of, especially guys that are wanting to get into the flip game of buying and selling properties. That's the key. You really need to somehow create value that wasn't already there on a lot of these properties. And really, those are the ones that you can usually make the best flips on, where they're
blank chalkboard.
Exactly. It looked like there was nothing there to start. And now you're walking away with this, beautifully set up property, whether it's 60 acres or, 600 acres.
Yeah.
So today, I think what we want to do is dive into the topic of prescribed burns, TSI, and kind of see where that takes us. We have DeerCast Maps set up. So if we want to dive into a property, we can. And really kind of see how you guys set something up. So that's kind of the premise for the audience of what we'll be diving into today. And I'm sure we'll take a bunch of different turns along the way.
A few rabbit holes here and there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Nope.
That's right. So Tim, anything to add to that?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't have to tell you guys. I'm just going to keep it to myself. But we are about to hit the time of year where people start thinking about prescribed burns. And I know it's one of those, it's an intimidating thing even people that do it a lot understand there's a lot at risk here. So maybe talk about first, like the conditions that you look for and you wait for, maybe how you're using DeerCast to look at humidity and barometer and wind speed, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we usually like to start burning right before that spring green up. Usually after March 15th is usually whenever we like to get out there and start our burn, just to knock back those first grasses that come on, let our warm seasons really blow. So usually we like to start after that March 15th date. And, that's whenever we start.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I feel like a lot of guys, the mistake they make is try to burn too early, and they burn it, and all they're doing is burning dead material, and this cool seasons come on and kind of choke out the warm seasons. So yeah, I'm with you. We always
hit them cool seasons whenever.
Yeah, try to knock those cool seasons back. And then, as far as conditions go, like we always kind of do the the 60-40 rule. So don't burn above 60 degrees or don't burn below 40% humidity. That's kind of a good rule of thumb for safety and controlling your fire. I don't know.
Yeah, very similar. Because one thing with fire, they always say don't play with fire. Well, it can get very dangerous and out of hand before you can get a hold of it.
Super quick. I feel like the humidity is the biggest thing you want to watch. I mean, you get below 40% humidity, that fire can crawl through grass and leaf litter and stuff super, super fast, especially if there's a little bit of wind pushing it.
Mhm.
I mean, it can really go.
I was going to ask you about that. Is there a certain wind speed and below that you're looking for?
Well, it all depends really what you're trying to burn too, because like the taller warm season grasses, they're going to create their own wind and really take off. So those you can definitely burn in a lot lower wind speeds. The shorter grasses, we like to have a little wind speed to push them on through because they'll choke themselves out.
Like how much in that case?
I mean, up to like even the shorter grasses, I don't know what, probably wouldn't want to get much over 15.
I was going to say 12.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. I don't like to burn super high wind speeds. I just say it carries too, unless you have and it depends how good your burn lines are too. Like if you got really good burn lines established,
Push it a little bit.
you can use a little more wind.
So let's back up then on the burn line subject and dive into that in greater detail, for someone that's never done this before, what you're creating there. And a back burn's different than, there's a lot of different methods you could take here. So take us maybe start to finish. If you were going to do a burn, and it's a regular burn, what are you doing first off with this burn line and what you're trying to establish? Like say it's going to be a north wind. What would you be doing?
Okay. North wind, just for this example, say you got a perfectly square field or whatever, and say it's just warm season grasses. We'll go, and at least for our burn lines, we always go, and I have like a 6 or 8 foot brush hog, and I'll mow, bigger is better, but you try to
down.
Yeah, you try to mow it down, get it really short, and typically I'll start mowing my burn lines here in the next couple of weeks. So that way, when Wade was talking about you want to wait till that green starts to come up, that short stuff, if you get all the dead foliage off of there, that green grass will come up, and that green will help stop your fire as well. So go in, get your burn lines established when they start greening up. Then we get into back burning, or you have your back burn and then you have your head fire. So on a north wind, typically I would like to go on the downwind edge because your fire is going to travel with your...
So on the south end?
Yeah, start on the south end. I would light along that line. Then your fire is going to crawl into the wind much, much slower than it's going to come going with the wind.
It.
So let it back burn. And typically I like to get a 10 to 15 yard back burn buffer on there. And then you can go and ring and let your head fire and let the wind carry it. And fire, like Wade was saying, it creates its own wind. It'll suck together. Like the fire, like you'll actually see the flames, they'll start to lay over and come together. And when they come, it'll start swirling and you get tornadoes and all that stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. Did I miss anything?
No, we always like to do the mowing, and then just out of pure precaution, we always go and usually till on the outside of our mow line. So it's the tall warm seasons, then, probably 10 foot of your mowed lane that we do here sooner than later to get, all the thatch off of it and let that green. So it'll slow it down there, and then it'll hit our dirt lines, which we use a tiller and we just till around the edge.
Just one
Yeah,
round.
one tiller. Cause you got, like Forrest was saying, you'll have that, fresh green kind of coming up in the places that we've mowed here in the next few weeks. So that'll slow it down, and then it'll put it out. It's to the dirt.
You're talking 15, 20 feet worth of,
Yeah.
by the time your back burn's done,
Oh,
you got 15 to 20 feet of buffer there of where the headwind's coming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But
Because they can jump.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where, that's why you want to start with your back burn, because your back burn fire is going to burn a little bit lower to the ground because it's not eating fuel as fast as your head fire.
Mhm.
So the flames aren't going to be quite as tall. Like that head fire, we've had some when they're coming, when they get going and get ripping through some of the warm season grass fields. Your flames are 20, 30 feet high. And that's where you run into jumping issues. They're burning stuff so fast, they're not fully burning it. And then you'll get pieces of grass that are still on fire go and land on the other side of your line. So that's why you want to have a good back burn to stop that.
Those head fires, they burn so fast, they don't necessarily always burn that lower foliage. So sometimes if you really want to get a good burn, you would just back burn the whole thing. Granted, it would take a bit longer, but you could go in and just back burn it because that fire just stays and cooks and just burns deep all the way to the dirt. So
How does that work? How does that work exactly on a back burn? If the predominant wind's blowing in your face, how does the back burn actually work? It's just slowly.
It's
really slow.
I mean, it's basically it's still burning. There's still material there to be burned. It's just it's fighting the wind. The wind is trying to push the fire one way, and it's trying to go the other way. So it takes a lot of time.
I think he's asking how fire works.
Gasoline.
You can get out your flint.
It sounds like
steel.
maybe a back burn is if you're doing it for the first time, that may be the most conservative, safest thing to do.
Very much so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
And
how many guys do you typically have working with you on? I'm sure it depends on the size
Yeah.
and the complexity maybe of it, but typically I know it's usually maybe you and Zach.
Yeah.
We've done. And
Yeah.
done you always definitely want to have 2 guys at least on every burn because you just can't have eyes on everything. But typically probably 3 to 4.
Typically, we burn a lot of times with 3. It'll be like me and Zach or me and Chad, or typically one of us will be running drip torch, one guy will have a backpack blower going out and kind of blowing it out along the end, and then Shayna comes out and helps too. She'll run the water. She'll run with a water sprayer, and it's
that was my job on the one burn.
She's the cart girl.
The water boy.
You can help too, Matt.
I'm a good cart
You're
girl.
a big boy.
Yeah. Matt, just make sure nothing keeps burning on the other side. Okay, got it.
Terry hands you a big ceremonial walkie-talkie.
Never been so scared in my life. I was like, oh shit, it's getting away from me.
Someone do something about that.
You had one job.
Matt come back just black.
Tires and put toast on the side by side.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends on it depends on your conditions. Like if it's super high humidity and the fire's moving super slow, like I've burned a couple fields by myself. I wouldn't recommend it, but they were real small fields, had really good burn lines. But typically you want to have at least 2 guys. I mean, any extra help you can get though. I mean, having 3-4 guys just from
you
a
never
safety
have too much
standpoint.
help.
Yeah.
And aren't there some legalities around burns? Do you have to have someone
Contact the fire department?
Yeah, we always our area. They always want us to contact the fire department. And just kind of give them a heads up because one thing's for sure: you burn that grass, people around are going to see the smoke and they're going to call it in.
So locally here, just recently, Logan, the guy that helps on my farm a lot, and Aaron and stuff, he was burning a big piece of property out kind of near the wineries, out where the wineries are. And I saw on Facebook, randomly, I think it was the Fox 2 News weather guy was like, I'm picking up some some smoke on my radar. Does anybody know if there's a fire happening? And dude, the comments, Aaron's like, check this out. He sent me a link. And I was like, I saw that. It was the burn that Logan was doing. I mean, a couple 1,000 acre, they were burning timber and all that stuff. And it was control. It was a prescribed burn.
Yeah.
But they were all like, oh no, I think there's a fire in such and such area. And the rumors just started spreading. There was a fire in East St. Louis. And it's like, that's past where the wind was going. Like, how would that happen? So it was all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I guess you got to really make sure, maybe talk to your neighbors, give them a heads up.
It's always best to give as many people a heads up.
Yeah.
No one wants to see the farm next door on fire.
Yeah.
And we always carry walkie-talkies with us when we're going too. That way we can communicate a little better. We have a set of them, and that way we can talk as it's going on. Be like, hey, the fire looks like it's like come around here to help blow this out, or put
you guys
water
have
on
handles like call signs that you go by.
Oh,
Forrest stump.
I like it.
I was thinking Screaming Eagle would be better.
Oh, that's awesome.
Forrest.
Terry's
I like
neat.
that. T-Bird.
T-Bird.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. They actually used to call him that when he was a younger man, T-Bird.
I
I remember going into like the local like hardware store. They'd be like,
Yeah.
T-Bird. My dad's cool.
None my dad nor any of his friends had actual like real names. They all went by Gumpy and Francis and just weird.
Small towns for sure. That's the way everybody's got.
They all worked on job sites,
Yeah.
so they all came up with nicknames for each other.
Dickhead.
I'm sure there's a couple of those.
So when we touched on it real briefly, but like what kind of equipment do you need, to really make this work?
I mean, you could, definitely want a mower, brush hog to create your burn line. You don't necessarily need a tiller, but it makes it that much more safe. You could, like Forrest, they usually just mow it so they don't always do the till lines, but so you get by with just mowing if the conditions are right. Backpack blowers, incredible help. It's a flapper. It's like a big piece of rubber or plastic on.
I mean, you could use a shovel if you had to. I mean,
Yeah.
if you didn't want to go out and buy something,
Yeah.
just something
Yeah,
to
you
keep
could use
the
a
fire out along those.
shovel.
But the flapper, that's the point. You're actually putting out the fire
Yeah.
with that, so you smother it, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
So
smothering
basically,
hot spots.
basically what the backpack blower is for, and where the flapper would be, like when you light your fire and it has eaten through and eaten your thing like along your burn line, some of that little grass is still going to be on fire, and you're just blowing that out or flapping it out. That's what
It
those
seems
are.
counterintuitive on the blowing it out part.
Yeah.
Like you would think like it would enhance it almost.
Yeah.
You know,
you just got to get really close to the flame and right at the head of that flame and put it right out right at the base.
and then a
Blows.
drip torch. You know, is
Yeah,
another-
I mean, you can
obviously
use a
that's
drip torch. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily have to have a drip torch. I mean, I've seen guys, they just take a
One of those little propane torches.
a
Work
little
good.
propane torch, or I mean, you could even, if you had to, you could just go along and light it with just a little big
Sparklers.
lighter.
Finger would
everyone.
get a little sore
Yeah.
after a while.
Good workout.
Yeah.
good solid thumb workout.
Yeah, a drip torch. I mean, a drip torch or a little
I mean, they're
butane torch
not
makes it-
that expensive.
Yeah, like
And
100
where you get them? Local hardware store.
typically
Online,
like a
Amazon.
Forrest supply store or
Yeah.
whatever like that. or-
Driptorch.org.
Yeah, I mean, you can just order them online anywhere.
Yeah.
Usually, what, $125?
Yeah, they're
something
not-
like that.
not
Oh,
much.
jeez.
Tim's out.
Big money.
Forget that.
Big money.
I'll take the
That's a-
$1.99 Bic from Casey's.
Tim's literally out there.
$125. That's
Give me
a
two
thumb-
of them.
Thumb is raw and bleeding.
Ooh, but I will have saved money. That's a week's worth of work for me. I'm not doing that.
That's right.
Ooh.
We don't pay them.
You paid in trail cams.
We definitely don't get paid for this podcast.
Right.
That's for damn sure.
But that stuff, like, you buy it once and you have it for years, and you're probably not buying it again.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
a one and done kind of deal. Sure.
And then I know the one time I did it, we had on the side by side, we had a water tank.
that's
We just
Very
use like our 60-gallon sprayer. Like a lot of guys have little tank sprayers or whatever. A lot of them have the gun, and that's what we use.
yeah, that's what
Sure.
we use as well.
What if you have like a dead tree in the middle of the field that you're worried is gonna
We had that.
catch fire?
It just burned for
Yeah,
a
as
while.
long as it's
You
in
gotta-
the middle, but if it's on the edge, you definitely, even like dead trees that are standing
Mhm.
anywhere close to the edge, because if they
They'll
catch,
candlestick.
and then they could break over and go into the other side that you don't want burned. So you got to cut them down, is what we always do. If they're right there, if they're dead, standing or whatever, just cut them down and fall them into the area that
Yeah.
we're burning.
This
Yeah.
one
They
was
can-
in the center, and it literally, a flame was shooting
I'll
out of
say
it
they
almost
can-
the entire night.
They can
Jeez.
candlestick pretty bad if they're hollow, and the wind will
yeah,
go up,
yeah.
and they'll shoot sparks, and the sparks from them can go forever. I
Yeah.
mean, typically we'll cut them down if
Yeah.
they're dead.
It'd be
A lot
best
of
to
guys are
cut 'em
probably
down.
worried if like the adjacent property is a fireworks factory,
Yeah.
and that probably makes them really nervous.
Yeah.
Sure. In that really specific scenario, yes.
It's a classic case.
On timber burns, those dead trees are definitely a bigger issue. Like we've done a few timber burns where we went through, and just like after most of it's cleared, we'll go through with a chainsaw and cut
Cut it
down
down.
7 or 8,
Sure.
10 different trees.
Like eastern cedars are super invasive and they're all over the place. If you guys have those in the field, can you count on the fire to rip through and kill them
Depends
off? Or
on
do you,
how hot or how much
like maybe
you know,
a 12
grass and
footer,
stuff. Yeah.
you know, just kind of a smaller.
I mean, it depends on the humidity too. Like if the humidity is really high, those cedars, they have a little bit of moisture in them. They're not going to burn real good, but that's where if you get down close to that 40% humidity
Mhm.
and you run it through there, like you're going to fry a lot of that stuff. And that's where
Okay.
you'll catch some of those cedars on fire. You want a lower humidity.
Gotcha.
Talk about timber burn a little bit, because I know off air you guys both said we don't really. I don't know. Do you guys do any? It's mostly your warm season
no,
grasses.
it's mostly warm season grasses. But
and sounds like you've done a few, but like that, I know like that you don't want to scar the timber.
yeah,
You know, there's certain things. So I guess that's where the low humidity comes into play.
It depends. Like with timber burns, like a lot of people, like it's definitely gonna clear out all your leaf litter and stuff. And it depends on the purpose
What
of
your
your
goal
fire
is.
is. Like if you're wanting to kill, like we did like John Williams, he was a longtime team member. I went out and helped with a burn on his, and we were trying to kill a lot of the ironwood. It's just like a smaller kind of shrubby tree, and we wanted to kill a lot of it off. The DNR, they came out and looked at it, and they were like, "We'd like to kill a lot of this ironwood. That's what we're gonna do for this burn." So we waited till later on in the spring. Like we did it. I think it was the last week of April. Like it was during turkey season. We went in.
let them green
we-
up a little
I was
bit.
gonna
say,
Get some
let 'em
sap
green
up
up.
'em.
Yeah, and certain tree species are a little more fire retardant than others.
Yeah.
But
You don't say that.
But anyways,
Sorry.
but anyway, so we went in later on. Because like with the saps not coming up into them, you're not going to kill them. Like you got to let them come out of dormancy and start. So we went in, and I mean, it was a low humidity day. We ran the fire through really quick. Like you can in the timber, a lot of times you could back burn and do it slower. I mean, your flames are only going to be that tall. But in that case, we got our back burn going, and then we ran a head fire through there on a low humidity day, and I mean, we absolutely fried all the ironwood in there. And you can do that for like a lot of guys use fire to kill like bush honeysuckle, multiflora rose, but you got to wait for stuff to green up and then run a head fire through there with low humidity to kill that stuff.
Get that higher heat.
Yeah. I went to turkey hunted a buddy's place, and they had just burned like the week before. And so trying to hunt turkeys in this timber that had been burned, it was like we were on a volcano or something. Yeah. Everything was black and sooty, and there was nothing.
Had nowhere to hide.
Well, and that's why there was no turkeys around. They had all moved someplace else. This seems like a fool's errand.
Give it another week or two. Turkeys love the burns.
That new growth.
Oh my gosh,
coming through there.
All those new growth.
Particularly
all the acorns and stuff.
Oh yeah, acorns big time because that leaf litter. Oh, the turkeys were crazy in those timber burns.
Yeah,
maybe you're just at a bad turkey spot.
That could be too.
Stranger things have happened.
So, we've hit this. Would it be helpful to kind of maybe just show, or would it be helpful at all to kind of show it on DeerCast and kind of give an example of how you guys would go about it?
Yeah.
Okay, can. Ryan, go ahead and pull this up on the big TV behind us.
Little cursor.
On our show, Matt is the cursor.
Nicely done.
Good job.
Thank you.
Hold on, you get a.
So for the sake of this, we're just pretending this is a warm season grass field, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
This is an ag field, but if in this case, if we were burning it, like this is a pretty flat field. Say we have a north wind, so we'd come along, make burn lines along the whole edge of the field. So.
Okay, so even on the north end side of it,
safest too.
Yeah, it's safest. You don't necessarily have to, but it's going to make it a lot easier to go through and use the blower and stuff. Time. Yeah, and it's just going to help be that much more safe. But then for your back burn, so if we had a straight north wind, I'd probably go up the edge a tiny bit. At least that's how we typically do it.
Yep.
Go, and I would light this whole
create like a U almost. Yep.
Yeah, this whole southern edge, and let that kind of work in. And then from there, once you get I'd wait till it gets into, I don't know, maybe there. I guess it's probably 20-ish yards or so.
Yeah.
And then you could go in, you could ring it. You could just basically go up along that edge, and then basically light the whole thing. And that fire is gonna come in on itself, and it should meet, somewhere right there in the middle. And then you can go along your edges, and blow
out the back.
Why is it that you see a lot of nighttime prescribed burns? The humidity level?
Yes. Yeah. Like typically your humidity's highest during that like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then closer to dark there. Like typically we don't start burning most of the time until 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening when that humidity's starting to rise again. Like if you look at the weather, different weather apps or DeerCast or whatever, you can see that humidity kind of bumps low and it'll start rising. And it just makes it a lot easier to control that fire.
And not only that, but like the shorter stuff where what we were talking about earlier, that stuff crawling that you wouldn't see during the daylight, but at night you could find those hot spots and pick it out a lot easier.
Makes sense.
If you guys had 3 guys working this burn, where would you post them up on this field?
You can go.
Well, one guy's going to be on the drip torch.
You'll obviously have the one guy starting down here at your back burn, and then then probably I'd have a guy up here on this corner somewhere.
The north end.
Yeah, and then somewhere on that corner so you can cover, visualize as much as you
So the 2 other guys, they're running the one's a black the blower, the torch or the
the blower, the flapper.
Yeah.
Basically just putting the fire out. You don't need too many guys building fires. You need them,
That's basically 1 or 2, one or 2 guys running the drip torch, and then everybody else is just working on making sure it doesn't get out of
For example, in this field, like if you had 5 guys here, you could have 2 guys with drip torches, like get your back burn down here done
on the south end.
And then you could literally, that's where your walkie talkies, you could say
2 guys
go.
come together.
You could have one guy go up this edge with a drip torch, one guy go up this edge, and it's just going to
west
close
sides.
your fire in a lot
Faster,
quicker.
Yeah. Versus go all the way around.
Because I mean, and that's the thing. Like Wade was saying earlier, fire creates a little bit of wind. So like, okay, like in this part of the field right here where it gets a little skinny. Say this is if you go in, like that fire is going to start eating in right away as soon as you go. And then by the time you hook around, that fire is going to be coming. That's going to close in really, really quick. Like that corner is going to suck together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where if you had a couple guys or whatever, if you had a guy going along this edge, this edge, where you could meet up in that far northern edge, that'd be the safest. So that fire would close in really quick.
Gotcha.
If one of those guys was Matt, where would you put him?
way over here.
You keep an eye on the road.
Property. Hey, somebody's got to get drinks and food. Okay.
We'll call you when we're done, buddy.
Well, and there's
hold on.
You suck, Matt.
Talk about the smoke factor and like just kind of think about your neighbors and where the smoke is going and just how you manage that piece, because it's not just fire that you're concerned about, right?
Yeah, unless
there's no way to avoid it. Though,
I mean, the thing about it is like you got to go when the fire conditions are right. It might not always be good for your neighbors. Just give them a heads up.
Mm-hmm.
Here, we're going to burn. I mean, probably wouldn't want them to have their windows open and push into their house.
Like if your neighbor had a house, like say your neighbor had a house right there, you might not burn it on a northwest wind. You may wait for a northeast or
try and push it away from it a little bit.
Get it away from the house. But I mean, for the most part, like Wade said, you got to go when the conditions are
right. And that
right.
classic fireworks factory deal, you want to wait until the wind was the opposite direction.
You want to back burn that one.
Yeah, the whole thing.
If you want to be on the news, wait till it's going towards
There's one guy listening to this that is in that scenario. He's like, they're finally talking about my situation.
The lease I had up in Rawls, that the one that
it was close to a firework.
Like a gigantic firework factory. Yeah, absolutely.
This one
like every time he keeps saying that, I think of that spot.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is a real scenario.
The other thing we were talking about too, like in the evenings, the wind's typically starting to lay. And I mean, if your wind is a lower speed, your smoke's going to go up versus going
sideways
somewhere. Like if you burn it on a heavy wind, like your smoke's going to carry a lot further at a lower altitude than if it was going straight up.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything we're missing on the burn side?
I don't think so. I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay, let's dive into TSI and what you can do and to help bedding and create better habitat for turkeys and all that stuff. Let's use the same property. So for those of you that are listening and not watching, this is probably a little tougher. But we're on DeerCast here on an iPad, and we're actually showing what these guys are doing. So as you guys describe it, maybe make sure you're using north, south, east, west, like the west edge. And describe it really well. But take us through. And this property, it's a 122 acre property. There's a big 9 acre lake on it.
Where's it at, Matt?
And it's nowhere near you. You will never see this. And it's for sale soon. Tell us what you would do for this.
We'll set it up for you, Matt.
It's not for me. It's for the future me.
Oh, okay.
Let's. Do you want to go to the 3D Matt or we're in
I think
3D
it is.
here? I can tip her there. Which do you want to start with that food plot you kind of talked about?
Okay, so in the northwest corner here of the property, right?
Yeah.
There's a how big is that food plot? Maybe
10 acres, maybe?
Yeah, maybe 10 acres.
10 acres.
And I have maybe 2 of that I have planted. The rest is just in grasses.
Yeah.
But there is it kind of goes downhill from there, and there's the dam of the lakes behind that. And so there's a lot of bedding right there.
Yeah, and it's south facing too. There's some good south facing. Let's see here. So you can see all this. This is southeast facing. This is southwest facing off this other side. So it's good, already good bedding, and you can just improve it and get those deer closer to the field edge. We like to always start our TSI at 100, 150, depending, and 150 yards off our food plot.
Okay.
Where you come and go, and they're not, where they can see it. But that range seems to be pretty good for us and puts them there during daylight, which is obviously the end goal.
Yeah.
So, and the way we do most of our TSI, and it kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for like immediate bedding or long-term bedding, if you're looking for that immediate bedding, you can wait until the foliage comes on in the trees, and then do the hinge cutting. And we do like 50 by 50 yard pods, if you will, and just to kind of create one here and then go another 50 yards and create another 50 by 50 area. And we like to do 4 or 5 of those.
Interesting.
Right off the edges.
So it's
of our
not like
fields.
you're taking, a gigantic area and doing the whole thing. You're creating little sections.
Yeah.
And when you decide to do what is it about those certain areas that you decide this 50 by 50 is where we're going to go?
More or less just bedding right by the food plot versus just bedding throughout a farm. We want them right here.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be on a south facing slope.
No, just like right off. But if you got
right off your food plot,
that's where they're gonna already be bedding. Obviously, deer like to bed on more of a south face than they do on a north face. They will bed on a north face. But
what about in the early season?
In the early season, yes,
it'll be
for sure. You got that, but
maybe a lower elevation, like in the bottom, or
like something cooler.
Yeah.
So all that plays into it, I guess. When you're going to set it up and you have a food plot, this is where my food plot's going to be, and depending on how high or low that is in elevation,
and our food plots, we have food plots that are really good in the early season and really good in the late season. So obviously that plays a role and a factor, like you was just saying. So pick your food plots and pick what kind of bedding you want and where you want it. So, but I mean, like I said, you could do it when the foliage is on, and you're going to get that instant bedding. And Forrest and I was talking about it earlier. Or you could wait till this time of year when all the sap's out of the trees and everything is dead. Go and do those, and you might not really see them utilize those bedrooms until year 2 or 3.
Oh, really?
To when it really grows up, that grass gets underneath there and grows up good and thickens it up real good. So,
well, maybe explain exactly what the principle behind TSI, what you're trying to establish there in the timber. What is it doing by doing these hinge cuts?
Well, go ahead.
I say typically the idea of TSI is to kind of thicken up your bedding cover and stuff. So you may go in, like a lot of people think of like pretty timber or whatever. Well, if you look through a really pretty stand of timber, it's going to look like a park, and there's really nothing there that's super beneficial to the deer. There's not a lot of native browse. There's not a lot of bedding cover, thermal cover, visual cover and stuff. So by going in and doing TSI, and typically, I don't know how you guys do it, but whenever we do it, we try to take those less desirable trees, and basically you're trying to reduce your canopy cover.
Sunlight
so allow sunlight to get to the ground, and that's going to allow a lot of your native stuff on the ground, like your forbs and like little brushy stuff, to come up, and that's going to give you visual cover, browse. I mean, that's like a lot of those older growth stands or whatever. There's so much canopy that it's just there's nothing there that's beneficial to the deer.
Yeah, and another thing, back to the fire thing, like you could go in and create that natural browse through your TSIs, but if you run a fire through it, it's probably going to take those treetops and burn them up. But you will have the sunlight hitting those areas, and then it'll be more like grass and shrubby stuff come up, and not so much the treetops.
Which in that case, that's probably better for turkeys, poults, and all that kind of stuff. Or what's the best scenario?
I mean, it's
good for everything.
Really. From the turkey standpoint, I mean, typically, like say you go in and do TSI and you burn it, the first year that you burn it, that's going to be really good brood habitat. Like once the hens hatch their poults or whatever, they're going to come out there. I mean, there's going to be a lot of new growth coming up. There's going to be a lot of bugs in there and stuff. But then like say year 2, 3, and 4 down the road, when that really starts to thicken up, that's going to be better nesting cover, and then in turn deer bedding cover and fawning and all that stuff. So I mean, there is benefits to doing it if you're going to implement fire with your TSI, to do it in sections. That way you have a little bit of both. So you have like brood rearing habitat and nesting habitat. You don't want to do it all at once and then
take away
your hens won't have a spot to nest. So you want to, if you're going to do fire in your TSI, you want to break it up.
When you look at hinge cutting, is there a certain size tree that you're looking for, or is it just the location?
And what type? You said less desirable trees.
Yeah.
Like, what are you looking at?
Like the locust, the hedge,
cherries. I mean, really, hickories, even some of them, they really don't have a deer benefit. They benefit squirrels. Your elms, maples. I mean, anything that really doesn't produce a mass crop for the deer to eat.
Yeah. And then, go down that path here in a minute, but if you're planning on logging your farm, that's a whole nother dynamic, because then you take the more desirable trees and you leave the tops from those. So, but again, we'll go down that path here in a bit. But
yeah. So on size, the size of the tree,
size really, we've cut anything from this big to, it's just.
Oh, you're gonna say.
I mean, the bigger, typically, the bigger the tree, the bigger your canopy. So you could drop one bigger tree, and you're going to open up a lot more sunlight coming in versus a bunch of little trees. It kind of depends on what kind of trees you have there.
I was going to say, because I feel like anytime I've ever seen TSI promoted or talked about, a lot of times it seems, maybe it's just people I'm following, but a lot of times it seems like they're smaller trees.
Yeah.
So, to your point about logging, I would think you'd be leaving the bigger trees. If you're thinking about logging your property,
absolutely.
You're leaving the better, financially, you're leaving the bigger trees, and they're going to leave the tops, which helps habitat anyways, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So. And the other thing along with, if you're going to log, like you may go in, if you have some really pretty oak trees in there, you can go in and do TSI ahead of time and go around those big money trees. And you can cut down some of the other stuff around, so that allows that tree to get more nutrients. So you're going to get more money out of that log in the long term.
Just depends on what your end goal is, really.
So on from a TSI standpoint, what are the tools of the trade here that we're looking at? Obviously, a saw, a chainsaw, but
chainsaw. I mean, there's different methods. There's the Hack-and-Squirt method that you could do as well, and then which you could just take a hatchet and get through those first few layers, and squirt some chemical in.
What's the chemical?
Well, I knew you were going to ask that.
I use Tordon for
Tordon. I used to have.
Tordon's one.
There was a different concoction that we was using, but Tordon obviously
we've used Garlon on some. I don't know. There's different tree species, like different stuff will kill them, but that Tordon is.
So you're literally taking a hatchet, you're hacking it, and then you're squirting inside, and that gets
kills
in
the tree, and that's more of a stand. Like obviously those trees will fall down in 5-7 years, but that'll leave the stand so you don't have a big mess on your forest floor, but it's still going to kill them, allow the sunlight to hit that forest floor, so you're not dealing with all the tops and everything. So again, if you're wanting more of like the grass and the fresh browse, that's the ticket. Because I mentioned this before we started filming, like I was talking to Logan about my piece, and he's like, well, if you're planning on selling it, you probably don't want to have a bunch of trees falling over. Back to your pretty timber comment, like I have pretty timber, and it doesn't really look that great to a buyer. Yeah.
Even though you're improving the habitat. And I had bought a piece like that once. I'm trying to remember which farm it was. Maybe that Montgomery farm had a section that had TSI done, and it looked like shit. Yeah. But
I mean, that's
rough, but
that's where like it depends on when you're looking to sell it too. Like if you're going to sell it in a year, okay, but if you're going to sell it in 3 years, you could do your TSI and then you could go run fire through it in the next year and burn up a lot of those tops and stuff, and it's going to be a lot prettier. So it kind of, your timeline depends on that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. But I didn't think about the hack and squirt method would be a great.
Or another one is whenever you just girdle the trees or ring them.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the same thing. That'll you don't really have to squirt those. That'll kill it.
So you're just taking the chainsaw and you're literally making a circle all the way around.
Typically, we double girdle. Do you double girdle or do you just single girdle?
It just depends on the tree. The smaller ones we just single. The bigger ones will double. But
they're bigger trees.
two,
two, and you want to do them so far apart because every once in a while, like somehow they'll heal a little bit and be able to get nutrients up there, and they'll stay alive even though they're girdled, and they look really messed up.
Yeah, but that works if you just want a real nasty. But again, back to my comment earlier, that you ain't gonna see that until year 2, 3. Whenever that tree,
fully dies. And so there, it's the same general principle that the leaves aren't there, the cover's not there, and so the sunlight's getting into the forest floor. That's
exactly.
But you don't have the big mess on your hands.
Yeah.
But what I guess
could be a little bit more dangerous going through those timbers.
I was going to say
year 3, 5.
Yeah,
7.
like they could start falling.
Don't go through
on
there
you.
in a windstorm.
Yeah, don't put a tree stand up in one of those.
Yeah, be careful there.
In that case, I understand, that the forest floor you're still getting the ability for the sunshine to hit it, but isn't there value for like the hinge cutting where there's actually, you're creating like cover and
instantly,
right?
Yep.
You have instant cover, and then the deer, they could browse on the tops or whatever if there's some little buds there in the ends of it or whatever. I don't know. I think hinge cutting's super ugly. Like I would rather just cut the whole tree off.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna get a lot of stump sprouts too, which the deer are gonna browse on those as well. Like the stump, like if you cut it off the stump, there's gonna be a lot of little fingers come up off.
I'll dive into that further because I often wondered that myself. Like if you're going through the process of hinge cutting, like hinge cutting, it's up 3-4 feet.
Yeah,
where
we like
hinge
to,
it,
about
chest high.
chest, but they say, or I don't know, they say it's like easier for them to navigate through under the hinges and stuff versus trying to,
go
walk through
over the top
logs
of
all over.
bigger trees.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean smaller trees, not so much, but it just gives them a little bit easier path, I guess.
Because hinge cutting looks ugly.
Oh, it's horrible.
It looks atrocious.
It's hard to get around too if you need to get through it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you bring it up because I just saw a piece that Grant Woods put out, and he said he prefers not to do hinge cutting because it makes it easy for coyotes to get through and chase deer, and deer having to jump over it. It makes it tough for deer to get away. So
he prefers just
Falling.
taking the whole tree down.
He didn't say what he actually does. He just said he does not do hinge cutting because of
the deer get
advantage
tied up
it
and the coyotes can navigate it easily.
Right through the hinge. The cut. Yeah.
And a lot of times it seems like whenever I see, like a lot of times you'll see videos of guys doing hinge cutting and they're just going through, just dropping trees randomly. Like I'm sure you guys do. It kind of drops some of them to where they kind of like try to hinge. If you are going to hinge cut or drop trees, drop them in kind of piles. So I mean, you're not. It's not just randomly.
It's almost a design element to it, where you're kind of dropping them into
a hub.
each other into a wagon wheel, almost. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of an organized chaos.
Huh. Okay, interesting.
And that was kind of the other reason we just didn't go do the whole deal. We do hubs, so there's pretty timber for them to navigate through, and then bedding and pretty timber bedding. So you kind of get the best of both.
And so you'll see immediate results as far as like
on that,
say, because Mark tends to, sell a property and purchase a new one, might be 80 acres here or 120 there or 60 or whatever. And you guys tend to every year have pieces where you're going in and, doing some sort of habitat improvement right out of the gate. Sometimes it's big, like you're got bulldozers in there and you're putting in food plots, and timber areas. And sometimes it's this type of thing, but it seems like you're always doing something right out of the gate.
That hinge cutting, it will give you that immediate cover and immediate bedding. So that is nice in that regards, where the girdling and the Hack-and-Squirt takes a couple of years.
So if you're picking up, say Mark picks up a spot in the summertime and, it's like, okay, we got a short window here before the season to figure out the property and decide what we want to do. What's your first thing you guys are looking at?
If it's in the summertime, we'll probably go in and look at the trails, find the water, and see what the activity is around that. Put cameras out, and then figure out where they're coming, where they're bedding, based on because you could see the beds easy enough, and we just go in and just take a full sweep of the farm. But it's always nice. We seem to purchase more farms this time of in this time of year, because the trails are defined, the scrapes are still opened up, and then it allows you to know where to put the cameras for that following season. So we always like to go into farms and look them over this time of year more so than summertime.
Definitely easier. Summertime, everything's thick and green, and it's a lot harder to kind of see, kind of get a lay of the land, really.
But this time of year, it's pretty mapped out for you.
And you get some snow on the ground in a lot of places.
Trails
where you can
and
see the trails pretty easily.
Everything's really defined.
Yeah. So don't buy one in the summer.
Well, I mean,
if you do buy one in the summer, you may not go in and start a project until you hunt it a fall and kind of get a ballpark idea how the deer are moving before you start some big project.
That's kind of the way that's happened to me a couple times. And that's usually what's like, well, let's figure out what they're doing this year and where they're moving to and from. We think we have an idea, and cameras can tell you a lot, but sometimes the only way to do it is the MRI of actually sitting on a property through a season and really get an idea, because they'll change through different parts of the season too.
Yeah. And one thing that you could do right off the rip is create food. If the farm doesn't have food, that's pretty easy because the deer are going to go to the food. So you could look at an aerial and say, okay, this is where they should be bedding.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty certain they are. Here's our access into this new food plot. And you could always put food and then eliminate the food if need be, if they're,
Okay. So take this example again and show us kind of, okay, looking at it, obviously there's some stuff that looks like it's established, or at least areas that kind of make sense. There's a northwest corner. There's a big field. The northeast corner, there's a long, a skinny field as well. And then of course we got the giant ag field on the southeast corner. So taking this piece of property, like I bought this in June, so I already know where I put my food plots and how I went about it. But what would you guys do on this blank slate?
So access is always number one for us. So you want to look at the farm, figure out where the best access is. Obviously
access it from the southwest corner.
Yeah,
there is access from the north.
You want your pointer.
The northwest as well. But
access.
Access is right here off this road.
Yep.
And first things first, the ag field is great. You come in right off the road,
Yep.
Great access on a northerly wind, and we always like to plant green close to the edge and then have more of a destination field. Granted, this is the whole ag field, so the whole thing's going to be a destination field, but we would either buy back or plant grain
Yep.
beyond where we're trying to get these deer to feed out to. So this inside corner would be great right here by this pond to have a green field of some sort right in here. And then, like I said, then you could have ag out this way, and then you'd be hunting on more of like a northeast wind blowing it back towards your access. Another possible good spot would be around this pond here on this horseshoe. We do a lot of horseshoe shaped plots. It seems to work really well for the early season. You got the water, you got the green, and you can have beans out at a further distance. Have your blind over in here.
Right in the pinch.
Yeah, right in the pinch, and blowing over this way on more of a northwest type wind.
Yep, straight to the neighbor. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're wanting.
Exactly, because you're hoping these deer bed it all in here, and then you could come in, hinge cut some of this stuff right here closer to where you're wanting them to come out.
On the south facing.
Yep, on the south facing, which these are more north facing here.
Well, I think this is north. That's south,
there's
isn't it?
there's
a little bit of both in there.
Yeah, you get some westerly facing over here that you can really get them bedding on this southwest edge over here and coming right out here by this pond. So that would be a really good early season spot, in my opinion, right here by this water. So that's what I would do on this field, and I think it's similar to what Matt already has going on this. This farm.
I didn't have a chance to plant green. The farmer, he had already had his beans the grain in, and I just let it go, and I bought back in those two spots that you identified. I bought back a couple acres in each spot, and then I had green fields that I planted on the northeast corner and the northwest corner.
Yeah.
And
where's your access on that? It's up here.
On the northwest corner, my access, there's an easement road that pops out right there. And so it's super easy for, anything northerly, but they really didn't move up in that corner as much as I thought they would until the late season, until the season ended. And then they jumped on that grain or the green there, surprisingly, which I was really kind of surprised at.
I mean, you kind of got, like Wade was saying, that those westerly, and there's a little bit of a south, or that westerly facing hillside in there. Like you could do some TSI in there and have your food plot. And I mean, it's a north wind spot. Like you don't really have a super south wind spot anywhere.
I don't really have any. Yeah.
But I mean, you could access it, just use your road as the access there.
Yeah.
Come in there, do some TSI, get that thickened up and stuff, and have your food plot out there. Like you said, you had a green plot. I mean,
in the very northern part of it, I put a green plot in this whole section, and then I got a blind right there, the pinch, and so they can't get past you basically without a shot.
I mean, you could kind of use your topography there, and you could. I mean, if you're banking on your deer bedding there, you could come in, slide on the downwind side, and maybe hunt that on a south and get in there.
Southwest.
Like you could use your topography.
It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of bedding. It's hard to tell without being feet on the ground, but.
And the property line's right near that edge anyways.
Right there.
Yeah, on that northern end.
Yeah, I mean, you could use your topography and slip in and make that a south wind spot. You may bump a few deer when you're coming in there.
Yeah, it's just access is always number one. So we try and find our access and then build our plots around our access.
Yep. Makes sense. So, Tim, any other questions you would have on like the TSI side of it?
Not really, but the only thing I would say about this is like part of the DNA of DeerCast is the shareability of map objects, so that if you're working with a buddy on a piece of property,
They can map it all out.
Yeah,
give their
if they're
opinion,
just
too.
consulting, they can share map objects with you. Like I can say like I would put a trail camera here. I could send that, drop it on the map, and send it.
And they
and you
pop
could
up
add it
right
to your-
there too.
Mhm.
All the photos.
Yep.
Yeah, for all the
the-
stealth cam, muddy cameras for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, you can see them right there, which it is nice.
Yep.
One of the things that's coming soon, I don't know, it might be a little far out yet, but guys are working on hunting properties inside the DeerCast as well. So right now it's based on your locations that you set up. That'll be kind of extended into a hunting properties where you can draw your property line or select the
Nice.
parcels
Yeah.
and then create and share all the map objects that are inside that property to someone as
The
well.
whole
So-
thing all at once.
Yes.
That'd be
Yeah,
really
yeah,
really
I
fit
would
in
say
each individual pen.
Before summertime, and if you think of them just like a file folder,
Yeah.
where you can choose all the stuff that you want included in that, and then you can share the whole thing with a friend, or you can share just components of it.
Trail
But it helps
cameras or-
you organize
Yeah.
and see all the assets that are part of that.
So that's
that
I'm
property.
excited about that. It'll be a nice addition to, especially when you're sharing a, you know,
Yeah.
say you're on a lease or so you pick up something new or somebody's coming in to hunt with you. It's
Mhm.
like, hey, here's the piece and here's the markers I want to share. Forrest is shaking his head because I'm usually the one coming up to there.
I'm thinking sharing with Terry because I'm usually trying to reteach him how to drop stuff or delete this.
Why would he
delete that.
know?
Just do it and send it to me and hit accept. And you can select the
He's
ones that
gonna
you
love
want.
that.
Like say you don't want all your waypoints or your path tracks or whatever it is.
Yeah. Mhm.
You can just say, hey, you're going to this spot and this is your
This is
path
all you
and
get.
This is all you
Yeah.
get. You know, so it's pretty nice. It's a
That's gonna
neat
be awesome.
addition.
Yeah, and you can share the level of permission that you want. Like you can make, like I can make Wade a full editor of my map objects, or he could just be a view only if I don't want him to
Yeah.
change
Move things
anything.
around.
Or
Terry,
delete stuff.
view only on your farm.
Right. Do not give him the keys.
That would make Mark mad. Why am I only view only?
Yes.
Well,
I need access.
adult
Yeah, I'm gonna
supervision
move that
means
tree
adult
stand.
supervision.
Yeah.
You're
So-
blind.
But the other thing is like part of this work should be fun, right? Like this is kind of why we got into it. Have fun and experiment a little bit, and figure things out and see what works and what doesn't.
Well, we're sitting with two guys that have taken it to the next level and had great tutelage, you know, with Mark and Terry. So they're experts in their field in this regard of setting farms up to grow big deer and kill big deer. And the turkeys and all that too come with it. I mean, it's kind of a full picture,
Mm.
but so it's neat to get their perspective on it because they've done it for a long time and very efficient at it as well. I mean, you could pick up a piece and you guys could kill, you know, a great mature buck off of it in that fall, you know, and I've seen you guys do it time and time again. So it's not by luck, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously you guys know what you're doing and have a skill set there. This segment of 100% Wild is brought to you by PH Outdoors. Check out the full line of the G Series and brand new M Series drills at phoutdoors.com. It's been great having you guys in the office here today, and we got some good meetings tomorrow. We're going to be doing the whole crew's coming in tomorrow, so we got a day full of meetings ahead of us. But anything else we should add as we close up this one?
Everyone's looking at me.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for some comment.
Well, it's coming.
It's
coming. He's
what I
thinking
found.
it's churning right
well,
now.
here's a
There it goes.
podcasting tip for you. The best podcasts are the ones where the hosts talk.
I don't think so, Tim.
there you
Because
go.
if they don't, you just sit
You
there.
were waiting for a comment.
Yeah.
That's
That was-
Timmy.
So any other insights you guys need, just let me know. I'm pretty good at podcasting. I've been doing it for a while now.
Yeah.
So
I
just
don't
said-
have any other options for co-hosts.
default.
You'll
I'm
have
the
it.
default. I'm a default as well. Mark and Terry were in here.
They're not
They do
doing
the
it.
podcast.
How many people have downloaded the show thinking they're going to get Mark and Terry, and they get
Well, we
Got
say
'em.
in the description, Matt and Tim. So, yeah, we got that.
Got him.
There you go.
unfollow show. All right. Well, so then the next episode is going to be part 3, cultivating value.
Yeah. So
if my math is correct.
So we're working on our guests, but I think either we're going to go down the logging path, which you alluded to a little bit, Wade, and kind of talking about what value you have in your timber there in your property.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize what value they actually have, and not only for money in your pocketbook, but improving your farm's habitat
for sure.
To get money and do this TSI that we're talking about.
And there's a a fine line there too, because if you're looking to, a lot of guys will buy a piece and log it right away, and it helps pay off the property, pay off your loan, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of the why they're doing it. But you have to think of your resale value as well. I personally do not like doing that, because I want to say, hey, you have
X amount of value.
Exactly. I'll have somebody come look at the timber and tell me what the value is, but I like to be able to offer that up as a selling tool as well.
Yeah, and different guys like different looking type of property. Like, someone might want to come in and strategically harvest the timbers off of it in certain spots, like Forrest was saying about the nesting of the hens and doing TSI or timber harvest and different parts of your farm, different years, so that you have those different stages.
Balance.
Yeah. So some guys don't want you to just go or want to buy a farm that's just been clear cut, even though it might be great whitetail habitat. It looks horrible and there's no value there on the back end for them.
I mean, loggers can be rough on a property too. I mean, not every logger goes in, and cleans like the logging roads after themselves. Like, there's a lot of work that you then have to do to make it look pretty again.
Yeah.
And so you have to think that part through as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, I've been on a lot of leases where, they go in and log, and it's like, holy shit, this is like they nuked this place.
Yeah, I got a
went through.
Yeah.
I got a quick funny story of a logger that we had in one of our farms, great friend of ours, and funny old guy. But anyways, it was a little bit soft. It was after a freeze, and it kind of thawed a little bit, and they had to get their logs out. They already had them down. They had to get their logs out. Well, they went through this bottom field, and they left ruts, probably about foot deep or whatever. And Mark seen that, and he just went ballistic. He come unglued, and he called this logger, and logger said, Mark, he said, that's not a rut. He said, that's an impression. He said, a rut is whenever you step off in that son of a bitch and you go nipple deep in water. That's a fucking rut. That just stuck with me. Anytime Mark sees a little indention on his farm, he don't like those indentions, but that always tickled me, because that old logger told Mark what a rut was.
That's a big rut.
Yeah, that's a rut.
So that was the last time that guy worked for Mark.
Yeah, we haven't had our timbers logged anymore. our timbers logged anymore. So.
Terry would come unglued. Mark, I'm sure, came
Oh, yeah. Mark does not like ruts.
Terry did. We logged that section on his farm, and kind of going along with that, we had gone through, and he had Jerry come up, and he slicked everything up. I went in and reseeded it, and we had this one section, and it was super pretty. And there was one tree that had fallen down in there, and the logger, like Terry said, like, we're done in that section. And this guy, he's like, I'm gonna get that one tree out. He went right through. The grass was like, all the stuff we had seeded was coming up again already and stuff, and he jumped up in the skidder with the guy. The old construction Terry came out.
That's not a Terry.
Barking orders. Veins popping. Yeah. Eyes bulging.
I've seen that, Terry. It can be dangerous.
Yeah. I was about as mad as I've ever seen him. He was ticked.
Well, he loves his place looking pretty. It's like a state park, golf course. Yeah, whatever you want to say. Like, there's he has these mowed paths throughout the whole farm to get around with these electric tracker side-by-sides. But you're not allowed to drive on the mowed paths and create indentions. Yeah. We will, throughout the season, and I'm only there a handful of times, but you start in one end, and by the end of it, you're in the grass. Yeah. You're in the weeds. Yep. That's not cut.
It's an antithetical road.
But when spring hits, it's the prettiest. It's
one of the prettiest farms. It's the prettiest farm I've ever been on. It's gorgeous.
And that's why. He's very particular.
Yeah.
We told the story before, but like so particular, like these guys have to rake the gravel in the
Make sure it's
shop.
going the right way.
Yeah.
Got the pea gravel in the barn. We rake it lines.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
zen.
It's almost like mowing a lawn and giving those pretty stripes.
That's what it
Forrest
is.
stripes up. Hey, Forrest, go stripe up the gravel
Stripe
lawn.
the gravel.
And this has gone on forever. Bennett talked about it. Bennett had to do. He's like, I've never seen anybody rake gravel before. I was like, what the hell are we doing?
What is this place?
Whenever I talk to one of Terry's old camera guys, like, you still raking the gravel? I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's the same rake he got when he bought the farm.
No doubt.
What did
Yeah.
they
Been a lot of
us?
blisters busted on that handle.
Was it you saying that one time Jared and his son came up
Yeah.
and they had just raked the gravel and Jared's son was young at this point and he just like shuffled his feet to the
we were out there in the barn shooting and Henry's going through there and man, he had looked like little cross-country ski trenches going through there. Terry was sitting there and you could see the blood
Breathing through his teeth.
coming out of his ears.
As
and as soon as they pulled out, grab the
Forrest,
rake.
go grab the rake.
Forrest, get the rake.
Yeah.
No, Terry's not above raking. He'll rake too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Raking and sweeping. He loves doing
Loves
those two
cleaning.
things.
Yeah.
Cussing the whole time.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
All right, cool. Well, I think we, covered this
We've
topic pretty
cultivated
well.
value for these people.
That's right. And, I think we also might be doing a predator episode of just in general, kind of taking care of, that side of things and the predation and making sure you're helping your herd out in that way as well. So we're still working on that, just lining up the date of when that guest might work out. So
Yeah, break out the Mike's Hard Lemonade
that's okay. What's that a reference to?
to catch a predator. Chris Hansen.
You never know where this is going.
He always has a backstory.
That's what she said.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, folks should stay tuned for episode number 3 because it's going to be a barn burner, whatever it is.
All right. Until next time, peace out.
DeerCast movement prediction and mapping tools combined with our exclusive virtual rain gauges gets you ahead of your game.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast Maps, waypoints, weather, virtual rain gauges, and more. Every tool you need to get ahead of your game.